The following video is designed to educate employees and employers on proper inspection and care of arc-rated and flame-resistant clothing whenever it is used as personal protective equipment. OSHA has explicitly determined that arc-rated clothing is considered PPE under 29 CFR 1910-269 for electrical distribution maintenance work. OSHA has also characterized flame-resistant clothing as PPE in its March 2010 enforcement policy letter for the oil and gas industries. Finally, if a workplace hazard assessment determines that flame-resistant or arc-rated clothing is appropriate to protect employees from workplace hazards, that clothing is considered PPE. Under all the above situations, the designation of flame-resistant or arc-rated clothing as PPE triggers specific employer responsibilities for care, maintenance, and inspection. Tyndale recommends that this video be shown to all new hires and annually to educate workers. This video is meant to be used as a tool in conjunction with, but never replace, your company's safety regulations and procedures.
Tyndale is a leading manufacturer and distributor of arc-rated and flame-resistant clothing. This video is designed to empower employers to train and enforce proper FR clothing care and maintenance within their workforces, keeping workers compliant with industry standards and regulations. At Tyndale, our employees are proud to protect workers so they can return home safely to their families every day.
Hi, I'm Rob Wittenberger, and I'm the president of Tyndale Company. I've been involved in all phases of the FR industry for the past 15 years and have deep technical knowledge of how FR clothing performs and how it protects workers. The most important thing for you to realize is that the flame-resistant characteristics are extremely resilient. All of the items you purchase from Tyndale are guaranteed to retain their flame resistance for the useful life of the garment, and we've tested countless field-worn garments to justify this guarantee. While this video provides a lot of useful information to help you get the most out of your FR clothing, there are only 3 items that are important to remember. Don't use chlorine bleach, don't wear your FR if it's soiled with flammable contaminants, and retire your FR if it's worn out. If you follow these 3 simple rules, your FR will perform as expected. At Tyndale, we are proud to protect.
What are the proper techniques for laundering FR clothing? ASTM International, an international standards writing organization, publishes a guide of best practices for home laundering of FR clothing. The guidance that follows is explained in greater detail in ASTM F2757, the standard guide for home laundering care and maintenance of flame, thermal, and arc-resistant clothing. The most important instruction for proper laundering is to follow the instructions on the garment label. Different FR fabrics may have different laundering requirements, so it's important to read, understand, and follow the instructions on the label. FR garment labels generally include a warning against using chlorine bleach or detergents with chlorine bleach. This is because chlorine bleach may break down the bond between the flame retardant chemical and the fabric for FR-treated garments. While FR-treated fabrics are considered FR for the life of the garment under normal laundering conditions, repeated exposure to household bleach concentrations or even a single exposure to industrial bleach can degrade the flame resistance. Also, for all FR fabrics, including inherently FR fabrics, bleach will have a negative impact on color retention and fabric strength. It's a good rule of thumb to never use chlorine bleach while laundering your FR clothing. A common precaution when laundering FR clothing is to avoid the use of fabric softeners. If you've accidentally washed your FR using fabric softener, even with multiple exposures, all you need to do is wash it once without fabric softener to remove the potentially flammable coating. Even after 25 launderings, Tyndale laboratory testing indicated no impairment of flame resistance. As best practice, follow the manufacturer's recommendations and refrain from using fabric softener with your FR. Do not use hydrogen peroxide or other laundry products containing hydrogen peroxide. Do not use starch or laundry products containing starch. If you've accidentally washed your FR using starch, all you need to do is wash it once without starch to remove the potentially flammable coating. While hydrogen peroxide and starch may not diminish the FR properties of many flame-resistant garments, it is not recommended to use these products on such fabrics. Tyndale does not recommend applying insect repellent with DEET, or diethyl metotoluamide, to flame-resistant clothing under any circumstances. If you have applied an insect repellent containing DEET to your clothing, it can be removed from garments by following the manufacturer's home laundering instructions. Although it is not required, it is good practice to launder FR and non-FR garments separately. Mixing FR and non-FR garments will not impact the level of protection, but could result in reduced appearance characteristics. It is also a good practice to turn FR garments inside out when laundering, as folds and creases in the garments could result in streaking or color degradation. Again, this will not impact the protective characteristics. Many FR garments can be steamed or ironed to remove wrinkles, but you should always check the garment label to be certain. You should not use fatty-based or bar soaps, as these soaps may leave a residue on the garment which could, under extreme conditions, mask the FR fabric and continue to burn. It's best to loosely add clothing to the washing machine and not overload the machine. Overloading the machine will not allow water and detergent to flow freely through the garments, resulting in reduced cleaning effectiveness. When washing your FR, liquid detergents tend to be most effective. Tyndale recommends Liquid Tide for top-loading machines and Liquid Tide HE for front-loading machines. Procter & Gamble collaborated in the development of the Home Laundering Guide, and this is the product determined to be most effective for cleaning FR garments. Generally, use the hottest water allowed on the care label. For most FR garments, this will be the warm setting on the washing machine. The hotter the water, the more effective it will be in cleaning the garment. However, hotter water also results in greater shrinkage for garments made with cotton. If stains are persistent, there are several effective methods to remove them. One option is to apply liquid detergent directly to the stain and let it soak before laundering. Also, most FR garments are dry cleanable, and that can be an effective cleaning method for tough stains. For most FR garments, it's best to tumble dry on low temperature. Hotter drying temperatures can cause greater shrinkage. Using a sensor dry setting on your dryer will help avoid over-drying your FR clothing, which can substantially increase shrinkage. To minimize shrinkage, remove garments from the dryer while they are still slightly damp or line dry. If a garment is soiled with a flammable contaminant, it is important that it is completely removed before the garment is worn again. A flammable substance, if exposed to an electric arc, could ignite and continue to burn, causing injury. If you can smell hydrocarbons, the garment is not safe to wear and needs to be laundered or retired. Any clothing exposed to hazardous chemicals should be handled carefully and in accordance with established procedures by qualified personnel. Finally, if you use disposable FR garments, they should not be laundered and should be discarded after use. Repairs of flame, thermal, and arc-resistant clothing should be made using fabrics and components that are equivalent to those used in the original manufacturing. This will avoid reducing the performance properties of the flame-resistant garment. Properly repaired garments may be returned to service in an FR clothing program. How will my employer inspect my FR clothing, and what will they look for? You should always follow your company's work procedures, but generally, whenever you are working within an arc flash boundary or an area similarly designated by your employer, shirts should be tucked in, be buttoned to the second to top button, shirt sleeves should be completely unrolled, and cuffs should be buttoned. The employee conducting the job briefing visually reviews the complete outer layer of FR clothing for each worker potentially exposed to an arc flash. This inspection should consist of the following components. 1. Evaluate a reasonable fit for all garments, ensuring that garments are neither too tight to restrict movement or too loose as to become an impediment to safely completing the job. 2. Verify that each outermost garment includes a label that indicates that the garment is flame resistant. Common external labels will reference terms such as HRC, CAL, FR, CAD, flame resistant, or ASTM F1506. 3. Determine that none of the outermost garments are worn out or should be retired from service. Specifically, there are several key areas to consider when identifying worn-out garments. First, look for thin spots, holes, excessive wear, or abrasion, for example, on elbow or knee area. Next, look for mechanical damage, such as evidence of cuts, rips, tears, open seams, and non-functional closures. Finally, consider modifications, alterations to a garment that differ significantly from the original design, such as cutting off sleeves, cutting down the front of a sweatshirt, or otherwise modifying a garment in a way that may reduce protection. 4. Ensure that none of the outermost garments are soiled with a flammable substance. Garments soiled by substances that represent a flammability risk, such as solvents, oils, and other petroleum products, could ignite and continue to burn even if the garment does not. The presence of a petroleum or chemical odor can be evidence of the presence of a flammable substance. Use of FR garments exposed to flammable contaminants should not be permitted under any circumstance. Some flammable contaminants cannot be completely removed by laundering or dry cleaning. As this vertical flame test video shows, the fabric sample on the left is contaminated with a flammable substance that ignites and proceeds to burn. The sample on the right is a clean fabric sample that does not continue to burn after the source of ignition is removed. A good rule of thumb is that if a stain is larger than a credit card and cannot be removed through laundering, the garment should not be worn and should be discarded. If you can smell hydrocarbons, the garment is not safe to wear and needs to be laundered or retired. Conclusion. Remember, the flame-resistant characteristics in your FR clothing are extremely durable and can generally not be degraded through normal use and laundering. It's important to remember the 3 most crucial aspects of FR maintenance. Do not use chlorine bleach. Do not wear your FR if it's soiled with flammable contaminants. Retire your FR if it's worn out. Tyndale recommends this video be shown to all new hires and annually to re-educate on flame-resistant clothing fundamentals. For more information on other arc flash and flash fire standards, flame-resistant clothing, and managed clothing programs, visit tyndaleusa.com.